You think intimacy ends when the lights come on and you both go your separate ways. You think a night together is just skin on skin, a fleeting moment contained within four walls and then erased by morning coffee and polite distance. But Carl Jung understood something most of us miss entirely, something that operates beneath conscious awareness, beyond the realm of what we can see or measure with our limited instruments. He called it the collective unconscious, the psyche, the shadow, but what he was really describing was an energetic transaction so profound that every time you sleep with someone, you're not just sharing a bed. You're exchanging fragments of soul, imprints of trauma, echoes of every person they've ever been with, residues of their unprocessed grief, their fears, their rage, their emptiness. You become a vessel for their psychic material, and they become a vessel for yours. This isn't metaphor. This isn't poetry. This is the mechanics of the unconscious mind meeting the energetic body, and if you've ever felt inexplicably heavy after being with someone, if you've ever noticed patterns in your life shift after intimacy, if you've ever felt like you absorbed someone else's anxiety or depression or chaos, you already know this truth in your bones. Today, we're going to walk through exactly what Jung discovered about these invisible exchanges, why most people are completely unconscious of the energetic residue they're carrying from past partners, and how understanding this changes everything about how you approach intimacy, boundaries, and your own psychological sovereignty. Jung didn't use the language of energy the way we do now, but he was describing the same phenomenon when he talked about psychic boundaries and the permeability of the unconscious. He believed that human beings are not isolated psychological islands. We are interconnected through what he called the collective unconscious, a shared reservoir of archetypes, symbols, and inherited psychic structures. But beyond that collective layer, there's also a personal unconscious specific to each individual, filled with repressed memories, shadow material, complexes, and unintegrated experiences. When two people become physically intimate, Jung argued, there is a thinning of the psychic membrane between them. The boundaries that normally keep your unconscious separate from another person's unconscious become porous. It's not that you lose yourself entirely, but rather that contents from their psyche can bleed into yours, and vice versa. Think of it like two bodies of water separated by a thin barrier. When that barrier weakens, the waters mix. You start carrying their unresolved material, their mother wound, their father complex, their shame about sex, their fear of abandonment, their addiction patterns, their anger at an ex who hurt them 5 years ago. And they start carrying yours. This exchange happens whether you intend it or not, whether you're aware of it or not. Most people walk through life completely blind to this process, which is why they end up feeling drained, confused, or emotionally destabilized after casual encounters. They think it's just physical, but the psyche doesn't recognize that distinction. To the unconscious, intimacy is always a merger, always a transmission, always an energetic trade. One of Jung's most critical insights was the concept of the shadow, the parts of ourselves we deny, repress, or refuse to acknowledge. Everyone carries a shadow. It contains the qualities we've been taught are unacceptable: rage, greed, lust, shame, weakness, neediness, but also the qualities we simply haven't developed or integrated. The shadow doesn't disappear just because we ignore it. It lives in the unconscious, and it seeks expression. When you sleep with someone, you're not just encountering their conscious self, the persona they present to the world. You're also encountering their shadow, whether they know it or not. And here's where it gets dangerous. If someone hasn't done the work to integrate their shadow, it will leak into you. You might suddenly find yourself feeling inexplicably angry, or anxious, or ashamed, and you won't understand why, because the feeling doesn't belong to your own history. It's theirs. Jung called this projection and transference, but in the context of physical intimacy, it's more than psychological. It's energetic. Their unprocessed trauma, their unhealed wounds, their repressed rage at a parent or an ex-lover, all of that can transfer into your energetic field during the vulnerability of sex. You become a temporary container for their psychic debris. This is why some people feel haunted after being with someone. It's not imagination. It's the residue of someone else's shadow material that you've absorbed because your boundaries were open and theirs were unconscious. The more unconscious the person, the more shadow material they carry, and the more likely you are to walk away from the encounter carrying pieces of their inner chaos. This isn't about blame. It's about understanding the mechanics of the psyche, so you can protect yourself and choose intimacy with awareness rather than ignorance. Jung believed that we don't just carry our personal history, we also carry archetypal patterns inherited from the collective unconscious. These are universal themes and energies that show up across cultures and time periods. The hero, the mother, the trickster, the lover, the wounded child, the predator. When you sleep with someone, you're not only engaging with their individual psyche, you're also engaging with the archetypal energies they embody, consciously or unconsciously. If someone is operating primarily from the archetype of the wounded child, you might find yourself feeling an overwhelming urge to nurture, fix, or save them after intimacy. If they embody the predator archetype, you might feel violated, drained, or used, even if the encounter was technically consensual. These archetypal imprints don't require malicious intent. They operate automatically beneath conscious awareness. The lover archetype, for instance, can be beautiful when integrated. It brings passion, devotion, and depth. But when unintegrated, it becomes obsession, possessiveness, and fusion. You might sleep with someone once and suddenly feel an irrational attachment, a pull toward them that has nothing to do with who they actually are. That's the lover archetype bleeding through the thin psychic membrane, attaching itself to you. Jung would say you're not really attached to the person. You're attached to the archetypal energy they triggered in you. The danger is that most people have no idea which archetypes they're carrying or projecting. They move through intimacy unconsciously, and so they pass these archetypal imprints to you without ever realizing it. You walk away, not just with their personal baggage, but with ancient, inherited patterns that now live in your psyche, influencing your thoughts, feelings, and choices until you become conscious of them and actively work to release or integrate them. Jung introduced the concepts of the Anima and Animus, the Anima being the unconscious feminine aspect within a man, and the Animus being the unconscious masculine aspect within a woman. These inner figures are shaped by early relationships, particularly with parents, and by cultural conditioning. When a man sleeps with a woman, he often projects his anima onto her. She becomes the carrier of his idealized or rejected feminine. When a woman sleeps with a man, she often projects her animus onto him. He becomes the carrier of her idealized or rejected masculine. This projection creates a kind of psychic fusion that feels intoxicating at first, like you found your other half, your soulmate, the one who completes you. But Jung warned that this fusion is dangerous if it remains unconscious. You're not actually seeing the other person. You're seeing your own inner figure reflected back at you, and you're merging with that reflection. The problem is that projections always collapse eventually. The real person beneath the projection reveals themselves, and suddenly the fusion turns to disappointment, resentment, or rage. But by that point, you've already exchanged deep psychic material. You've absorbed their unintegrated anima or animus content, and they've absorbed yours. This is why breakups after intense sexual relationships feel so devastating. It's not just the loss of the person, it's the loss of the projected inner figure. And it's the painful process of reclaiming the psychic energy you gave away. If you've ever felt like you left a piece of yourself with someone, that's not poetic language, that's literal psychic reality. You fused with their inner masculine or feminine image, and now you have to do the hard work of withdrawing the projection and reclaiming your wholeness. Most people never do this work, so they carry fragments of past lovers inside them for years, sometimes decades, wondering why they can't fully move on. Jung didn't speak explicitly about energy cords, but his work on synchronicity and the collective unconscious implies the existence of invisible connections between people. In modern energetic language, these are called psychic cords, threads of energy that form between two people during intimacy, linking their energetic and psychic bodies. Every time you sleep with someone, a cord forms. If the connection is conscious, healthy, and mutual, the cord can be a channel for love, support, and energetic nourishment. But if the connection is unconscious, toxic, or one-sided, the cord becomes a drain. You might find yourself thinking about them obsessively, feeling their emotions even when you're not near them, or experiencing sudden drops in energy that correspond to their moods or crises. This isn't your imagination. You're literally tethered to them on an energetic level. Jung would understand this as a manifestation of the unconscious link between two psyches, a bond that operates outside of conscious control. The cords don't sever automatically just because the relationship ends. They persist until you actively cut them, and most people have dozens of these cords still attached to past lovers, flings, and even one-night stands. Each cord is a point of energetic leakage, a place where your life force is being siphoned away or contaminated by someone else's unprocessed material. And here's the part most people miss: these cords are two-way. Just as you're receiving from them, they're receiving from you. If you've done deep healing work and raised your energetic frequency, someone still corded to you can parasitically feed off your energy without even knowing it. This is why some exes seem to reappear in your life right when you're finally thriving. They're feeling the shift in the cord, and unconsciously, they're drawn back to the source of that energy. Understanding this changes everything about how you approach closure, boundaries, and energetic hygiene after intimacy. Jung was fascinated by alchemy, not as literal chemistry, but as a metaphor for psychological and spiritual transformation. He saw the alchemical marriage, the union of opposites, as the ultimate goal of individuation, the integration of masculine and feminine, conscious and unconscious, light and shadow within the self. When two people come together in intimacy with consciousness, awareness, and mutual respect for each other's psychic sovereignty, they can create what Jung called the conjunctio, a sacred union that catalyzes transformation for both. This is intimacy as alchemy, where the energetic exchange elevates both people, where shadow is integrated rather than projected, where boundaries remain intact even as souls touch. But this is rare. Most sexual encounters are not alchemical marriages. They're psychic violations, not in the legal sense, but in the energetic sense. One or both people enter the encounter unconsciously, driven by unmet needs, unhealed wounds, or ego gratification. There's no awareness of the energetic exchange, no honoring of the psychic material being transferred, no container strong enough to hold the intensity of what's happening beneath the surface. The result is extraction rather than union. One person drains the other, or both people leave diminished, confused, carrying residues they never asked for. Jung believed that true intimacy requires individuation. You must know yourself, integrate your shadow, and develop a strong ego structure before you can truly meet another person without losing yourself or violating them. Without that foundation, sex becomes a battlefield of projections, a swamp of unprocessed emotions, a transaction where energy is stolen rather than shared. This is why so many people feel empty or anxious after casual sex. They've participated in an unconscious extraction rather than a conscious exchange, and their psyche registers the violation even if their mind doesn't understand it. So what do you do with this knowledge? How do you protect yourself, reclaim your energy, and move through intimacy with consciousness rather than naivety? Jung's answer would be individuation, the lifelong process of becoming whole, of integrating the shadow, of withdrawing projections, of developing a relationship with your own unconscious so that you're no longer at the mercy of it. On a practical level, this means several things. First, you must become aware of your own shadow material and do the work to integrate it. Therapy, journaling, dream work, active imagination. These are the tools Jung recommended for making the unconscious conscious. The more aware you are of your own psychic contents, the less likely you are to project them onto others or absorb theirs unconsciously. Second, you must develop strong energetic boundaries. This doesn't mean closing yourself off to intimacy. It means being selective, intentional, and aware of who you allow into your psychic space. Not everyone deserves access to your energy. Not every attraction is meant to be acted on. Discernment is a form of self-respect. Third, you must practice psychic hygiene after intimacy. This can look like energetic clearing rituals, cord-cutting meditations, or simply taking time alone to process and release what isn't yours. Jung would call this shadow work, the ongoing practice of examining what you've absorbed, what belongs to you, and what needs to be returned to its source. Fourth, you must learn to recognize the difference between conscious intimacy and unconscious extraction. Does this person honor your boundaries? Do they take responsibility for their own shadow? Are they aware of the energetic exchange, or are they operating purely from ego and impulse? These questions matter. Finally, you must reclaim the pieces of yourself you've left with others. This is deep psychological work, often requiring the help of a skilled therapist or guide, but it's essential. Every fragment of your energy still attached to a past lover is energy unavailable for your present life. Your creativity, your growth, your wholeness. Carl Jung spent his life exploring the depths of the human psyche, and one of his most enduring insights was this: we are not separate. We are interconnected, psychically and energetically, whether we acknowledge it or not. Every person you sleep with leaves an imprint. Every encounter is an exchange. Every moment of intimacy is a choice about who you let into your soul. Most people make that choice unconsciously, driven by loneliness, lust, or the need for validation. They don't realize they're signing invisible contracts, forming energetic cords, absorbing shadow material, merging with archetypal projections. And then they wonder why they feel haunted, why they can't move on, why they carry a heaviness they can't name. But now you know. Now you understand the mechanics. Now you have the awareness to choose differently. You can approach intimacy as a sacred act, a conscious exchange between two sovereign beings who honor the depth of what's happening beneath the surface. Or you can continue to move through it unconsciously, leaving pieces of yourself scattered across the psychic landscape, carrying pieces of others you never intended to hold. The choice is yours, but it's not a small choice. It's the choice between fragmentation and wholeness, between psychic violation and alchemical union, between living at the mercy of the unconscious or becoming the conscious creator of your own energetic reality. Jung believed that individuation, the process of becoming whole, was the most important work a human being could do. And part of that work is understanding that intimacy is not casual. It's never just physical. It's always psychic. It's always energetic. It's always sacred. So the next time you find yourself drawn to someone, ask yourself, am I ready to exchange energy with this person? Am I willing to absorb their shadow, their projections, their unprocessed pain? Do they honor the sanctity of this exchange, or are they unconscious of it entirely? And most importantly, am I approaching this from a place of wholeness, or am I seeking them to fill a void that only I can fill? These questions will change your life. They will protect your energy, deepen your intimacy, and guide you toward relationships that honor the profound truth Jung spent his life uncovering: that we are psychic beings living in an energetic universe, and every choice we make ripples through the invisible web that connects us all. Choose wisely. Choose consciously. Choose with the awareness that your soul is not a casual thing to be shared, but a sacred territory to be guarded, honored, and offered only to those who understand the weight of what you're giving. If this resonated with you, if you're ready to reclaim your energetic sovereignty and approach intimacy with the consciousness it deserves, subscribe to this channel. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it, and leave a comment below telling me, what's one energetic boundary you're committed to holding from now on? Let's build a community of people who understand that intimacy is sacred, that energy is real, and that the choices we make in the dark shape the light we're able to carry in the world.